So vintage will start in 6 days exactly. The season has been quite different. Spring was very dry at the beginning, then we had plenty of rain in July, and finally in the past 2-3 weeks the weather has been suddenly incredibly fine, as you see today. Bright sun, dry, cool in the morning, which is very good for the grapes. And in fact, absolutely sunny for the past 2-3 weeks. The grapes look absolutely beautiful, small grain, middle crop, and beautiful acidity, which is in fact a good sign of balance. And we will start so on Tuesday, Pinot Gris and Pinot Noir first, and we really look forward to pick these grapes with plenty of pleasure.
So as my uncles just said, we are hoping for one of the best vintage so far, and finger crossed, normally everything will be okay. Great Pinot, so Pinot Noir, Pinot Gris, and of course the best of the best, the Riesling Schönenbourg that you have behind. So sounds and looks amazing at the moment, so far so good. Thank you.
So here we have a gorgeous view, sunny view of our two Grand Cru of the Hugel estate. In the foreground, Grand Cru Sporen, very gentle south-facing slope with high clay content. So where we have all of our best Gewürztraminer. Also on the lower part some Pinot Gris, and this is the terroir where we consistently produce late harvest wines, because the high clay content gives the ability of botrytis, noble rot, to develop. And then in the background, in between, there would be our little village of Ricquefier. You have the very steep Grand Cru Schönenbourg, one of the most famous historical sites for Riesling, where our family has over 5 hectares of Riesling, which produce some of our best Riesling Grand Cru. Also sometimes some late harvest Riesling, and with amazing minerality, because the soil is marl limestone with a gypsum bedrock. So producing wine with great minerality and great longevity. I'm very pleased to introduce Hausian. Hausian is doing a master, so I will soon have to call him master in Dijon, and one of the best way to learn about wine in Dijon in France. And we are fortunate, and he's fortunate to be an intern for 4 months, of which 6 weeks where Hausian will help us with the vintage, and he will, with his camera, give a chance for Chinese visitors to really come into our daily life. So a few words in Chinese.
很高兴在雨果酒庄能够有这样的一个实习机会，希望能够在这里欢迎大家吧。如果您来到雨果，来到阿尔萨斯还有里克威尔，我会作为你的贴身导游来带领参观我们整个酒庄。谢谢。
谢谢。
This lovely little terroir that we have in the background is called the Plochtik. It's quite small, about 5-6 hectares, and we own a very fair amount of it. The particularity is that on the surface you have limestone from Trias, and deeper you have granitic sand, and this makes a very, very good soil, very drained soil, which is absolutely excellent for the Pinot family. Our very best Pinot Noir comes from this particular terroir. We have a very nice parcel of low cropping Pinot Noir just behind us, and in the rear we have some of our best traditional historical Pinot Noir parcels, and also Pinot Gris, which is also very successful in this terroir. So here we are right in the heart of this location called Plochtik. This parcel here is 55 years old. This parcel makes our very, very best Pinot Noir. In the very best vintage, it makes a Pinot Noir called Les Neveux, which is a wine of absolutely great aging potential. As I said before, the surface is made with this limestone from the Triassic, and underneath you have about 2 meters of a very, very fine granitic sand, which makes the soil absolutely perfect for the Pinot Noir. This vineyard has been planted in 1968, as I said, and probably we will wait another 10 or 15 days before we pick this Pinot Noir to be able to produce the best possible quality.
So we are here in the heart of the Floschtik. This already my great-grandfather used to say this is the best home for Pinot in the family estate. Pinot meaning at the time Pinot Gris, because there was hardly any Pinot Noir grown in Alsace, but it is now also the home of our finest Pinot Noir. We have a vineyard planted in 1966 and some younger plots, but with very low vigor. And the combination of limestone and granitic sand gives this amazing elegance and minerality to the wines. In the Floschtik we also have about half of our Pinot Gris. This is always combined with the Grand Cru Sporen. Sporen, which is high clay content, which produce wine with great profoundness, depth, richness, and the minerality, the elegance come from the Floschtik.
I'm very happy to be in the fields, in the vineyards this afternoon, because in fact I'm of the vintage 1929, who was a famous vintage, of course, especially for wine. And since 70 vintages I have been influenced in our family business. We were 3 brothers, and we continued exactly as my father and my grandfather asked to do. And I'm happy that the future is in a perfect hands with the 2 next generation.
So here we have a beautiful view on the Chenambourg, this magnificent Grand Cru that dominates the old town of Riquewihr. This is historically one of the most famous Riesling-specific Grand Cru vineyard in Alsace, where our family owns about 5 hectares, different plots, some in the middle part of the slope, always producing the greatest of the wines. Obviously, the oldest vines also have a great influence on the wine. Marl, limestone and gypsum is the Chenambourg terroir soil that produce wine with great minerality, great longevity, because the wines of the Chenambourg have been known since medieval times for producing some of the longest lived Alsace wines, Alsace Riesling, which we believe is the greatest white grape variety in the world. Yes, yes.